gift to something, there's sometimes in our life when it's clear as day to us that we see, that we get back. Sometimes it's less noticeable, but it's guaranteed that if you give something, you're going to get back. You give something, you're going to get it back. Now, this is like something particular to the concept when we say about Sadaqa, charity itself. We didn't even branch out a little bit, which I want to do. But let's try to first understand. I'll tell you a fascinating story that I heard from a friend of mine. This actually happened to his family. I wanted to call him before I came here, just to get the refresher in the story. So it's a little bit off. Forgive me. The main point is still there. I think the guy's name was Solomon. I think it was Solomon. Last name Solomon. And this fellow was in the German army. Now this is in World War I. World War I, he was in the German army. And he was fighting in the Italian Alps. You guys know what I'm talking about? Does this make sense, what I'm saying? Okay, so just nod along with me and let's say it's true. So, he's out in the Italian Alps, and his job was, he was a high-ranking official, he was a scout. What he had to do is he would go ahead, and when he would find that, let's say there's enemies up ahead, he would go back to tell his people to come back and attack and be able to, okay. So Germany's fighting against Italy. The Jews at the time were very much on the side of the Germans at that time. We're in World War I, we're talking about. So he comes ahead out in the snowy Alps, of Italy. And they're going ahead, and he sees a bunch of Italian troops. So he quickly goes back to get his people, and they come ahead, and they surround them, and they capture them. Now, what they're meant to do is to take them back as prisoners of war. That's what they're supposed to do. But the guy in command over there was just like, he's like, this is crazy. You know, it's freezing, and like, we don't want to go all the way back. We're already making headway. Let's just shoot them here. And Solomon, I think was the name, right? He's like, whoa, 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 that's not what we do. You understand? Yeah, I know we're out in the middle of nowhere and all, whatever. He's like, you don't do that. So he goes, come on, what's the big deal? You know, we'll shoot them, we'll bury them in the snow, no one will know anything, and we'll move on. And he stood in front of them and he said, I'm not going to let you do that. He said, listen, Solomon, stand down. He said, I'll tell you what. You want to shoot them? No problem. But you're going to have to shoot me first. Not letting this happen. These are people with families. You understand this is war, but they don't have any weapons. We have them now. They're prisoners. We put them away, but we don't kill them in cold blood. Not happening. Freezing blood right out there. So he didn't want a whole hearing, like he has to find what happened to him afterwards when he shot the guy and actually killed him. So like, all right, he's just fine. We'll bring him back. Fine. Fast forward. A bunch of years later, this guy moves to America. He moves to a place called Chicago. Anybody familiar with Chicago? Moved to Chicago. And he makes his living as a kind of like construction, fix-it, side type of thing. And he's doing his thing. And perhaps some of you will remember that there was a tremendous fire in Chicago in the 20s, which big fire, and destroyed a lot of properties. One particular building which got devastated. So this guy who worked in construction from his truck, you know, whatever, he was like a small little, you know, fix it there, do this there, whatever. He's like, this is a gold mine now. Because they're going to destroy this building now because of the fire. They're going to get money from insurance. Maybe there's stuff in there that's salvageable that he could use for his own company. So he went to the building manager, and he said, do you mind if I go in to take some of the stuff that I could use? He goes, listen, I'm getting insurance money anyway. Go ahead, take whatever you want. So he goes in there, backs his truck right up to the building, and he starts going, taking things. And he's doing his thing, he's gathering all the stuff from the truck. After like a long day of work, as he's doing his thing, what happens? Thank you so much, giving. That's amazing. Here, this is for you. No, I'm kidding. If you give, you get. All right, so after this long day of just doing this, he's tired, his hands are all dirty. He goes back inside, you know, he wants to wash his hands. He's like a faucet there. He turns on the faucet, starts washing his hands. As he's washing his hands, he's looking at this water and he's realizing that it looks pretty dirty. You know, he's like washing his hands with dirt. The water looks like yellowish, whatever. Figured there's a fire, destroyed it, whatever. But then he smelled something strange. It didn't smell like water. It smelled like alcohol. And he's like, alcohol? In the meantime, as he's washing his hands, he overhears two people behind them speaking in Italian. Now, he speaks Italian because he was stationed in the Italian Alps during World War I. He overhears one saying to the other, oh no, he found our stash. What stash? What was going on in the 20s in America? Prohibition. Prohibition. So what was the mafia doing? Gathering as much alcohol as they can. And under that building was the reservoir of where they kept the alcohol. And this was the one tap for all of the illegal alcohol that was going on in Chicago. And this Yahtzee was washing his hands with illegal prohibition alcohol. And he overhears them going in Italian, oh no, he found our stash. We have to kill him. So he, he gets a little shut up, but then he realizes they're in Chicago. He doesn't speak Italian. So he just pretends like nothing happened, shuts the faucet, he goes,
oh, hey guys, I'm just gonna go now. Thanks.
and they're like, not so fast. Have a seat.
What are you talking about? Have a seat where? I don't know what you're talking. Why would I sit? I have to go in the truck and, nice try, sit down. And they put him down, they tie him to this chair, and one goes to the other. The big boss likes to take care of people like this. That's called the big boss. So he's sitting there listening to them speaking, how they're gonna kill him. And he's like, oh, great. You know, like, all my life to get killed in a fiery building. I mean, this is crazy, you know? As he's doing his thing, the big boss arrives, walks into the room, and he goes, Luigi, Mario, what's going on? And he said, listen, this guy, bada binga, found the stuff. It's Italian. What he said is that this man found their stash. That was okay. I don't want to brag or show off here, but okay, that's So he goes and he says, he doesn't even look at Mario and Luigi, he just looks at the guy sitting in the chair. He goes, oh yeah, this guy found our stuff. He goes, yeah. They go, yeah. And he says, all right, boys, get out of here, I'll take care of it. Boss, you want us to go? Get out of here, I'll take care of it. Okay, they leave. He goes to the guy and he says, so where were you on the night of December, whatever, 1914, or whatever it was, yeah? And he goes, he didn't do this, his hands were tied. He mentally did that. It's like, I don't know where I was, whatever. He goes, where were you? He goes, listen, he didn't want to say he was in Italy, because then he's going to know that he's giving up that he spoke Italian, whatever. And he says, I don't know. He goes, you do speak Italian. Yeah. So he goes, I don't know. He goes, I'll tell you where you were. You were fighting for the Germans. You were in the Italian Alps. He goes, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, yeah, you don't know what I'm talking about? Solomon? He goes, who? He goes, listen, my friend. I'll tell you how I know where you were. Because you were in the Italian Alps after just capturing a group of Italian soldiers. And you stood in front of them and you said, if you're going to kill them, you'll kill me first. And you know how I know this? Because I was standing right behind you. You saved my life. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you now. I'm only going to chop off your fingers, you hear? But consider yourself lucky. He says, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let you go. And you're going to turn around and walk out of here and never tell this story again. When I told this to my kids, they go, well, I guess he told the story. Because now we know the story. Right? So wait until, the Don died, Who would have thought this guy saved someone's life in the Alps, the enemy,
And by doing that, what goes around comes around, and eventually gets his life saved by this very guy because he decided to go and behave in a certain way. Friends, understand Vinasanu, it goes both ways. That's the Vilna Gaon actually points out. The Gaon from Vilna, if you're Sephardi, he points out that if you look on top of the word Vinasanu, it has the truck, the ta'amim, the notes. What are the notes? Anyone know? So maybe we have different Torahs, but in mine, now you did a Sephardi shtickle, so I don't even know what happened there. But it's the words kadma v'azla. Good, we're on the same page. So show me that, right? So we do it by we, I mean Ashkenazim, v'nasinu, right? Which means what? Kadma v'azla. Sorry, it's not as poetic. You know, you guys are like ah, na, 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 na. You guys get it going on. You know, we just kind of boring like that. Anyway, so what happens? The Nasinu is Kadma v'azla. Kadma v'azla, if you look at the notes, they shaped, one goes like this, one goes like that, which means to say, it goes like this, and then it goes like that. It goes back, and it goes forth. When you go ahead, or let me say it differently, it goes forth, and then it comes back. When a person goes ahead and behaves in a certain way, you start to give towards something, it alters your life. It could save your life. Perhaps you've heard of the expression, Sadaqa, tatzil mimaves. Sadaqa tatzil mimaves, or tzedakah tatzil mimavet. Sadaqa, giving charities. What's that? Mimavet. Yeah, Italiano. Right? It teaches you, right? Tzedakah saves you from death. What does that mean, tzedakah saves you from death? Okay, so Chazal teaches us. We know, this is the way it is. Tzedakah saves you from death. This is a real deal. This ain't no games, people. It's a serious business. Business saves your life. You give tzedakah, it could save your life. So most of these concepts end up being in the spiritual realm of us, perhaps never understanding or seeing how.